Very different vibes, but that's okay. We welcome all sorts of vibes here at the Untranslatable podcast, that's for sure.
I would imagine a hip-hop song would actually be perfect for making words sound bad or sound a certain way, even though they're not.
Sure. Yeah, you can change the
word, you know?
Yeah, you can change the emphasis on the syllable stress and all sorts of stuff to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jared.
Thank you.
Nice little teaser before we even get into the big stuff today. Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. We are here today to talk about dirty words, or at least words that sound dirty, but maybe aren't. And for all of those of you out there watching on YouTube, you might be seeing me coming from a school bus, and that is because this is where I learned how to use lots of words that sounded dirty, but were not actually dirty, because our bus driver had a keen ear for anybody out there using inappropriate language. And when you have 4th graders and 9th graders riding the same bus, you're going to have some issues here and there, I would say. So we're looking forward to uncovering some of these words with all of you today. And this could not be done without my partner in crime and my good buddy and my co-host, Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Hello. I'm very interested to hear about these workaround words that you used for swear words. So let me get this straight. So if you said a word that clearly wasn't a swear word, but clearly was a stand-in for a swear word, the bus driver was like, "That's fine." You know, they're not saying the word.
I mean, they would kind of give somebody the look, right?
Johnson.
Right. Exactly. Williams.
That's what, first base,
right?
Or whatever.
Strike one.
Thank you.
Strike
Not first
one.
Base.
Right. We're not. This isn't a dating episode today, Jared.
Okay. I'm interested to hear these. By the way, you can also follow us on Twitter.
Spread a little love.
Untranslatable podcast. Untranslatable 1, the number 1. Instagram is Untranslatable podcast. But let's be honest. If you typed in Untranslatable podcast into Twitter, and if we didn't come up, then don't follow us. We deserve that. That's on us anyway. So I'll take that.
Is that on us, or is that on Twitter?
It's probably on us. It's probably on us. You know, I don't blame other people. You know, Chad, I'm accountable. I'm also accountable for the fact that we need more 5-star reviews.
Пожалуйста.
Spread a little love with those on iTunes and Stitcher. That would be great too. You know, the school bus. Oh man, I know. I never had a lot of school bus experiences. I feel like I missed out. I definitely did for a bit, but it wasn't enough to really like. I never got a 4th and 9th grade mixed experience. That really accelerates one's
vocabulary and vernacular for sure.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah. Did you also learn the real swear words on the bus?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Or maybe you learned those somewhere else, and specifically the bus was where you learned the workarounds.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, well, the thing was that we had, like I said, the big mix in age with a lot of the people on the bus, and of course, as you know, Jared, the cool kids sit in the back of the bus, and you know, when I was younger, I was more the middle of the bus kid, right? You know, because I was younger, I wasn't going to sit by all the
you can tell
it's
a social hierarchy. You can tell just
that's right.
By walking down the aisles where someone stands in the school hierarchy, social hierarchy. Interesting. Okay.
Right.
And you were
not
middle
only
of the
that,
bus
but also
kid.
We had some of the people who sat on the bus in the front. They were like doing homework or reading or sleeping.
No way.
You know,
sounds like a freaking movie from the 80s.
Right?
With like
the
Breakfast
Untranslatable
Club
school bus.
or what's the freaking movie? Ferris Bueller's Day Off or something like that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So yeah, and just for example, I mean the quick easy ones that everyone knows, right, are like frick. Frick, shoot. My favorite one, though, I think back in the day was shut the front door. Because if you said it with the right oomph, it really, that one would get the bus driver,
I cannot imagine you saying shut the front door. But I mean,
shut the front door.
Is that how you would say? You'd put the emphasis on. So you kind of, even though front doesn't have the same power as the real F word,
Right.
You would try to put the emphasis on it like you would on the F word, even though it doesn't sound like a word, like, because you put the emphasis on the front of the front.
Right.
And it needs to be at the end.
I guess if you could say the F front before you
need to really hit the T or something.
But I think if you hit the T, you just sound snooty. Shut the front door.
You sound like a British person.
Shut the front. Well, how would they even say it? I don't think.
You shut the front door. Yeah, you're right. You just that's the thing. You're right.
English
you just can't put the emphasis.
You can't really
there.
do that. Yeah.
And that's what makes the real F word. Fuck, for those that don't know.
Ooh, watch out. Earmuffs, Jared. Well, we do have that explicit rating. So
I don't know why. I'm not afraid of the rating. I don't know why.
How many fucks are we allowed per episode? How many?
Do you don't listen to podcasts?
Unlimited? Is it unlimited?
You clearly don't listen to podcasts.
Well, I listen to like guitar podcasts, and believe it or not, there's not that much swearing in those types of podcasts.
You've brought up Joe Rogan before. He swears all the time.
That's true.
Yeah,
but not that much though. I'm talking like lots of F-bombs.
You can say as many F-bombs as you want. You can say whatever you want.
There's no F-bomb police is what you're telling me.
It probably only really starts to get dicey if you start to maybe go into some level of white nationalism, maybe some sort of KKK affiliations.
Okay.
Some sort of Holocaust denial.
Well,
maybe
that's not swearing. That's just being an idiot.
Sure, you can say all those things without swearing. What I'm saying is you can say whatever you want. There's no one's going to take us down for too many F words. That's hilarious.
You never know. You never know, Jared.
You have literally no podcast experience. That's
except for this podcast experience, but yeah.
Yeah, which is not enough, clearly.
Hey, we're getting there. 280 episodes is pretty decent.
That's true.
That's not nothing.
Pretty good. That is pretty
it's
good.
Not nothing.
And only 7 F words over the past year. I counted.
Perfect. Jared's keeping track. That's
the FCC mandates no less than 10 per year for podcasts.
Only
Radio
10 fucks
0
per podcast. Yep, that's true.
Come on, Chad. You can't just waste them like that.
We said 4 this episode, and it's only March when this drops.
I know.
So we got what, another 8-9 months to go, where we can't drop any more F-bombs. That's a sad day right there, Jared.
I know. The podcast police are going to come after us.
That's right. We better be careful. It's all right. We'll find a good hiding spot and we'll be fine, Jared. That's for sure. So, Jared, I don't know if you've been on the social medias lately, but have you heard anything about the Coca-Cola diversity training?
Oh no, I haven't.
You haven't?
How are you out social mediaing me? What is happening right now?
I don't know, but go ahead, get on Google real quick, and just type in Coca-Cola social media.
Didn't someone get mad? Someone got mad about it.
Yes. Of course.
I did hear about this, but I didn't. Whenever I see people get mad about diversity training, which one is it? Why Coca-Cola is being called anti-white after a diversity training seminar?
So here's a nice little headline. This is from the Daily Dot. Coca-Cola faces conservative backlash after training materials have been revealed. So these were training materials that were leaked. Okay, so let me read some of these slides for you, Jared, from these leaked materials, and I want to get your thoughts on it, and we can chat about it for a minute. So, confronting racism, understanding here's one slide.
Sorry, can you just text me the link?
Oh, sure.
I wanna see. I make PowerPoints occasionally for my job. I just need to visually see.
Yeah. Sent your way.
Thank you. I see it. Visually see the aesthetic.
Let me describe the aesthetic, though, for our listeners out there.
Please.
As you would think for Coca-Cola, what are the colors of Coca-Cola, Jared?
Red and white.
Well, there you go. So this is a white background slide with with red font.
That's not red, though. That's orange.
Okay, sorry for my screen the way it was here. It looked red.
It's
but
a pretty basic
orange.
slide. Like this is.
Yep.
There's no sort of flair to these slides.
Right. Hey, when you're doing diversity training, Jared, you just got to get the point across. So here we go.
We don't know. There's probably a whole bunch of effects that they have whenever they change a slide,
right.
and
a spinning animation
each bullet
that like
point dances in.
Right.
All right.
Okay. So
let's see what's on these slides.
First slide on here. So confronting racism, understanding what it means to be white, challenging what it means to be racist. Okay, interesting start. Let's see where this takes us, Jared. Next thing I see on here, and I can't tell you what order these slides are in. This is just the order in which the pictures are shown on this article here from the Daily Dot. To be less white is to be less oppressive, to be less arrogant, be less certain, be less defensive, be less ignorant, be less humble.
Be more humble.
Or sorry, be more humble. Listen, believe, break with apathy, break with white solidarity. Okay, thoughts, Jared? Thoughts on this slide yet?
To be less white. I don't listen. It's points were made. And I understand I understand most of the points. But just as someone that I understand what they mean by to be less white, but there's got to be a better way to say that.
Probably,
just a better word choice. It doesn't even flow nicely.
I think a lot of the wording here could have probably been changed to convey a similar message.
Even to recognize one's whiteness or something like that. And that's not perfect. Right? That's just something that came to my head.
I would say that's better.
But
Coca-Cola,
it's just like,
pay attention, people. We're giving you a free updated diversity training right here.
Be less white.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
I mean, some of those points, some of those points I agree with. Some of those points are kind of difficult to even, like, it's like, that's kind of hard. To be less oppressive, I get it, but that's kind of a tough one. Be less arrogant, I certainly get that one, but that's hard to...
And I don't know if that's a white thing or that's just a general... maybe it is a white thing, I don't know.
So that's, that was Chad that said that, the white guy. Be less certain. Right. I don't know. Everyone should be... I don't get what
that has to do with anything, to be honest with you.
Be less defensive, for sure. Be less ignorant, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with those, yeah.
Be more humble.
Sure. It's always some humble or humility is always good, and listening is good.
Believe,
that's important.
Yes, I believe with both of those. Break with apathy. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Here's the other thing, Jared. I would love to actually hear this presentation because obviously we are just. I will say this: we are just taking these slides and breaking them down.
The classic move. I do understand the break with apathy because the classic move is to just be like, well, I didn't own slaves, and I feel like that's like the classic apathetic, like it's not my problem. And then the break with white solidarity, I 100% agree with that, but I don't think white people will understand that. Like,
I don't. What does that actually mean?
The idea of like, but he, he might believe this, but they're voted for Trump, but they're still a good person, or like, we still get together at these holidays, but we just don't talk about these difficult things. We just pretend to have a good time. I think maybe that's more of the ignorance or whatever, but I think it's just that like always defending these people that in theory, you claim to be fundamentally against, and I think for a lot of people of color, there's not that luxury to be able to just put aside those differences because they're fundamental differences that involve your identity and your safety or whatever.
So can I ask you how does it work? And I'm really sorry for putting the burden of the black community on your shoulders because I know that's not fair. But can I ask you how does that work with? So if you have a black friend or family member who voted for Trump, do you just I know it's probably pretty rare, but how would that be handled?
I don't know because I've never experienced that. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, because I agree with you, but at the same time, it
gets handled the same way. It probably gets handled the same way as other all families. Probably some people just put up with it, some people don't. But I've never experienced that, so I don't know.
Right, because I will tell you straight up. I mean, I definitely have family that voted for Trump. Well, I hate to say this, but I don't know if I would say they're good people, and we don't really talk to them or associate with them. But I do have some friends that I went to high school with that I would still call my friends, and they voted for Trump. Mm-hmm. So I guess so that means that I'm participating in white solidarity? Is that what that means?
Hey, Chad, you answer that for yourself.
Okay.
I'm not the one giving this Coca-Cola presentation. Don't put it on me.
That's true. Anyways,
I just put together this damn PowerPoint.
Right. Anyways, sorry, Jared. All right. So I would say the things that I like about this first slide is I would agree that the less defensive. I think a lot of white people, if they're accused of being racist, they automatically just go on the defensive instead of actually listening and trying to learn from, whatever happened.
And I think a lot of white people can't separate that was racist first, you're a racist.
You're racist, yeah. And there is a difference, for sure. Be less ignorant, yeah, but that's kind of a moot point, because how do you have someone be... The whole point of ignorance is not knowing what you know what I mean? Yeah.
Wouldn't it just be more useful? Wouldn't it just be useful to say educate yourself rather than
inform
be
yourself,
less ignorant?
Educate yourself. Yeah.
Like be less. It's just so generic. I don't know. To say educate yourself. I don't understand why you have to do the be less kind of thing.
Right. I think it is interesting that they have the be less. Why don't they try to have a be more? Be more understanding. Yeah. Be a better listener.
Listen, it's just I wouldn't put a presentation together like this probably. Let's go on to the next slide.
Right. Okay. In the U.S. and other Western nations, white people are socialized to feel that they're inherently superior because they're white. Research shows that by age 3 to 4, children understand that it is better to be white.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I agree with that 100%.
Okay. All right. As a white person, I guess I disagree a little bit because I'm a white person, but I don't know. I mean, I grew up in a not very diverse area. I don't know though. I don't know. I don't think I have a white superiority complex, do I? I don't think white people are inherently better than other races.
I don't know if it's I understand what you're saying. But there's I don't even know if they're saying that you but you understand but you understood the concept,
sure,
at a very young age.
I mean, right. Well, yeah, and I guess I did probably understand the concept of white supremacy pretty early on.
And I would imagine that either you or people around you, as when you were younger, made jokes about the misfortune of black people or something, or people, or some sort of, or gay people, or some sort of group, like most people do. I think it's just the awareness.
Town, you hear all sorts of homophobic and racist shit, for sure.
Well, there you go. I think it's just saying that. I agree with that. I think that's 100% true. Yeah. That's how. Yeah. No, I agree with all of that.
I think, is that the last? And then the last slide just says
there's
try
more
to be
slides.
less white.
There's more slides on that.
Are there more slides?
Not on this specific, not that we're seeing right now.
Right.
But I'm saying in general, it's a 10-minute thing.
I'm sure. Right, I'm sure. But yeah, that's just, it's just so fascinating, Jared, because I do think there's definitely some things in this PowerPoint that are good and I think would help employees. But I think the way that you mentioned as well, the way that they have tried to bring this message across. Now, it's hard to say because we didn't watch the presentation, but just based off of these slides, I would find it very hard. I'll be honest, I would find this very hard. I'm just thinking of myself in the audience listening right now to this presentation. I'll be honest, I'd probably get a little defensive the first time hearing this stuff.
Yeah, white people love to get defensive. Right? I understand it.
Well, but I mean, at the same time, Jared, if the roles were flipped and you told somebody be less of a man, be less of a woman, be less black, be less whatever, you'd probably be a little defensive too, wouldn't you? I mean, that's kind of a... No?
I mean, the be less black, I'd be interested to see how they would say, what they would categorize as being less black.
Okay.
I'd be very interested to see that list.
What would go on the list for be less white?
Be less white?
Yeah.
They already have the list. I think that's a...
I guess you're right. Yeah, be less oppressive.
You're trying to make...
You're right.
I found more slides though. If you there.
Did you? Can you send them to me?
It's a YouTube video. I'm just scrolling through a YouTube video.
Okay.
One time, some lady that clearly looks like she'd be offended by this presentation is with the Shure SM7B, though. To be fair, she has good technology. Is talking about the presentation, and to be honest with you, I don't know what her opinion on it is. To be fair, I'm not even listening to it. I don't know why I insulted her like that. One-time workshops on racism are not enough. Establish a set of organizational practices such as monthly affinity groups, cross-racial discussions. See, I don't want to be involved with that. I'm already uncomfortable in this conversation. Right. Ongoing professional development, revamped interview questions. Maybe that's why we need to do more of this. We need to have these hard conversations.
It is good, though, and it's important.
Revamped interview questions that address racial issues. Interesting. All right. Okay, she talks a lot. Sorry, I'm just 5-second forwarding through it, but it's on this slide for a long time. Okay, yeah. I listen. I just think that I just think it's not a it's not a well done presentation, but I think there is a lot of I don't know. I think white people are a little ignorant to reality a lot of time, blissfully so.
Yeah,
and
I would agree with that.
And it needs to be addressed somehow. But I'll say this probably isn't the best. This probably isn't the best.
Probably not
form of it. I can understand why you whites would get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I probably, if I were it will, this wasn't in person, obviously, because this is, work from home times. But if this was in person and I had to sit through this presentation with other people, I would probably be cracking up.
That's great. That is hilarious.
Oh my God.
I'm just trying to imagine my office sitting through this. And
listen, I don't know where these people are, but I do know Coca-Cola is headquartered in Atlanta, I believe.
Okay.
So that is, that's probably also a tough place to teach people about their whiteness in general.
Right.
You never know. Listen, I don't know.
Right.
I don't even. I don't like that. I've. Anyway, go ahead. What were you about to say?
I will say this. So the things I can, I guess, address or I don't know what even the right term is for this, but so I'm looking back at that slide. To be less white is to, and once again, I mentioned this earlier, but I do really like the idea of being more humble. I think that's good.
And that's the thing, though. It's not about being less white.
Right.
It's just about recognizing what it means to be white in America, especially in relation to black people, but in relation to all sorts of groups.
Right. I don't get the be less certain unless that just means that, well, okay, no, I take that back. Now that I'm starting to think about it, okay, I can see how.
The irony of it is every time you say like, "Oh, I don't really understand this," you're like, "Well, as I even question it, I sound like the
yep. I kind of get that one now. Yeah, the issue with the be less certain is when you come off just like you know what you're talking about, but you don't actually know what you're talking about. You
can't convince someone of that, can you? You can't convince someone you're like they're trying to convince people to change their fundamental beliefs here,
right?
And it's like,
well, I think of those people too who are super certain. They have a level of cockiness or arrogance to them, which is the bullet above that as well. But it's funny though too, because to some degree, I think. To some degree, that's good, but on the other hand, if that's all you do, it's also bad. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you need to have some level of self-certainty,
sure,
belief in yourself. But yeah, okay. I'm starting to understand this a little more the more we read and talk through it. But
self-certainty, I don't think it's even just about like I'm confident in who I am as a person. I think it's more like being less certain of what you think about like history, or how you being when you hear something. I feel like a lot of when I was being taught, black history as a kid, or even like about slavery, the tiny bit that they do teach you about slavery. A lot of it seems to be couched in this idea of it, like it wasn't that bad,
Oh, it was terrible. Slavery was horrible.
Part of the reason why a lot of civil rights pictures are in black and white So it seems like it was farther back than it was specifically, because a lot of those like MLK pictures, like they had color pictures at the time.
Yeah,
color
it was
cameras.
It was the 60s, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And so the usage of those like black and white pictures were specifically like it's just like I don't know. There's just a lot of like there is a lot put into sort of trying to convince us that, you know, this is history. This is in the past. Right. It's not that bad. You know,
brainwashing and propaganda.
They had slaves, but they were nice to them. You know, it's just a whole lot of like trying to.
I really hate the argument. Well, what else would they do? I think that's such a dumb argument. Like, shut up. That's such a terrible
Pilgrims
argument.
Sat down with the Native Americans and had a nice meal together.
Right. Of course they did. Sure. Right. Yeah. But anyways, I can see how this PowerPoint definitely rustles some serious jimmies. For sure.
Sure. I mean, listen. First of all, it's 10 minutes, so I don't want to say it's super simple because I've seen like 5 slides, but I don't know. It's just I feel like it needs to be more. I understand what Coca-Cola, a large company, is trying to do, but I feel like maybe it needs to be more focused on like specifically in the workplace how you can address this, you know,
right?
Not just how you can like quote unquote become less white, because I don't think that's something that. Sorry, I looked up the person that made the made the PowerPoint.
Oh, nice. Doing some sleuthing.
Yeah. But
you should have seen some of the memes though, Jared. I saw some really funny memes that came from this. Like,
what kind of memes did you see?
Of course, all they were was like it was like me after getting trained by Coca-Cola to be less white, and then it was pictures of what was the actor dude? The actor
Colt
dude
45
that acts like a rapper.
Dude.
He acts like a rapper. The whole point is it was white people trying to be like black people.
Oh my god! Oh, Chet Hanks. No, he acts like like he puts on the patois, the Jamaican accent.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly. Tom Hanks' son. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
That is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah. So there you go. So that was kind of funny.
That's the thing is I don't think it's about being less white, because that's actually that's kind of the same thing that they do with black people.
Just be less racist.
Where it's like this idea exactly. It's like this idea of trying to conform to whiteness in order to fit in, you know. That's what they're kind of doing on the white side. They're like, don't be white, because the problem is white people, sure, but the problem isn't that they're white per se. It's that
they're racist.
It's that there's racism or whatever that needs to be addressed and recognized in just everyday life that gets passed over, and that can be passed over because you're white. So it's not even about being less white. It's just about understanding what that means to be, what it means to be white in America.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So yeah, anyways, I thought that was an interesting article. Thought it would bring up some interesting discussion. Didn't realize we were both going to get so uncomfortable, but
no,
it was worth it, and I think it was a good discussion.
I'm not uncomfortable anymore, and I stand by what I said. I just I do get uncomfortable when I'm in a place where I have to like give some sort of teachable moment or like speak for the community, you know?
Right. Sure.
Those two things make me super uncomfortable. It's like, I'm not here to teach. I'm not, because I don't want to make it like, I don't pretend to be the most eloquent about it or know like the history perfectly about it. So like, I always get nervous where I'm like, listen, I don't want to be the teacher, but and because like I'm not the perfect, I'm not the teacher. I don't have all the answers.
I don't know.
I just know how I feel.
You do have some of the answers, though.
Sure. I mean, sure. That's true. I'm not saying I have nothing to say.
Right. For sure. Well, speaking of things to say, Jared, I think you might know what time it is.
Is it Spread a Little Loved? I don't know. Do you have any?
I do have a shout out today. I do.
Okay.
But this one's coming
know what time it is, actually.
It's time to spread a little love, Jared.
Okay. Spread a little love.
Yeah, this one, sorry, I don't have any articles up because this one's going to come straight from the heart, Jared, because There's well, as you know, and probably some of our listeners know, I'm a very big Bayern Munich fan. That's no surprise. One of my favorite football clubs, Bayern Munich. And I want to give a shout out to one of their newest players, Jamal Musiala, who is the youngest, I believe at 17 years old, to score in the youngest Champions League appearance, I believe, youngest goal in the Champions League, and youngest goal also in the knockout stages of the Champions League. And Jamal Musiala is he's German and British, I believe, if I remember correctly. Spent some time in England growing up as a kid, and then I don't know if he was born in Germany or in England, but he has citizenship for both countries. And I believe he's also declared that he's going to be playing for Die Mannschaft, which is the German national team. But the reason why I want to give him a shout out, Jared,
them? Die Mannschaft?
Yeah, that's what they call it. Die Mannschaft. That's like their... because, I think every team, or not every, but a lot of teams have like a little moniker like that. Anyways, I want to give Jamal Musiala a shout out because...
How do they find these people, by the way?
I don't know. I have no idea. But he was actually playing, I think, at Chelsea's youth academy. So he was through like up-and-coming academies and stuff. Yeah. But he is an awesome player to watch, Jared. He's, I believe their nickname for him at Bayern is Bambi. Because he's kind of tall and lanky.
Is he fast? Is he a fast person?
He's pretty quick. Yeah.
What are sort of his main? Or do you know anything about him?
Yeah, I've seen him play quite a few times.
Do you know what some sort of is? What position does he play?
He's usually they've been playing him as a winger. I've seen them play him as a striker or as an attacker. So he's like a forward or a winger.
Okay.
And it's fantastic to watch this kid play. He just his goals. He's one of those players where when he scores a goal,
so this is his first goal. This is just his first Champions League goal.
Well, he scored some Bundesliga goals too.
Okay, so this is just his first Champions League goal.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
But it was quite a goal, and the kid's very promising, has a lot of talent, and it's he recently just turned 18. So shout out to you, Jamal Musiala. Lots of respect, and we wish you a very great career, and hope he sticks with Bayern for quite a while.
Yeah, for sure. The older I get, the more I realize like how far away I was from my dream of becoming a soccer superstar.
There was I don't remember if it was Jim Gaffigan or Chris Rock or there was some comedian who said, or maybe it was Donald Glover. I don't remember who it was, but
that's a wide range of comedians.
It is a huge wide range. I'm aware. I just remember I was watching it on Comedy Central, and I've seen all three of them on Comedy Central.
Okay,
that's why. But you're right; it's a completely wide range. But anyways, they were saying how the older they get, the more they realize that like they're never going to become a famous athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Like once you hit a certain age, it's like there's never like a chance where you could just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna hit the gym really hard and try out and
just have a burst of
right
physical prowess at 29. Maybe maybe I'll just be playing at the park that I sometimes go to when the weather's nice, and some sort of like a local club guy will drive by and see some amazing shots I take and be like, son.
Right.
Who are you? Oh, I'm
Definitely.
Jared. Would you like to be a professional soccer player, sir? Yes.
That's always where the scouts go, is the parks. That's where they find him.
My thought is that he'd just be happy to be driving by. Maybe what does Detroit have a professional soccer team?
Well, they have a
Detroit.
semi-pro, DCFC.
That's good enough. That can get me started. Maybe the semi-pro coach lives in my neighborhood.
Oh, for sure.
He can't be making that much money. Anyway, now I know what time it is. Now, it is the clock that we use is analog. I'm slow to read it. To be fair, I'm not good with analog. We really should have sprung for the digital.
Did you know? I didn't realize that. Speaking of digital and analog clocks, they have gotten rid of a lot of the analog clocks at schools and replaced them with digital clocks.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so
where did that fact come from?
I was talking to one of my coworkers, and they said their kids can't read analog clocks because they don't have them at school anymore.
They just don't teach how to read them ever?
Yeah.
Do they still teach cursive? Because if they're going to stop at the analog clocks, they got to stop at the cursive.
I don't think they do cursive either. I could be wrong, but I don't think they do.
I mean, at this point, why do they even really have to teach people how to write?
True.
No one's handing in
other than signing your name.
Yeah, but listen, my signature if you
squiggles?
lined up 100 of my signatures, you probably would be able to point out 4 of them as being the same.
Right.
It's all just squiggles.
For sure.
I've never had someone come back and dispute my signature and be like, listen, sign this piece of paper. We're gonna compare.
Please
them.
re-sign this with correct cursive.
I'm
sir.
like, oh, I'm losing this.
Right. Fine, I don't want this anyways, and you just storm out.
I was like, depends. I need to know, when did I do this signature? Was this college? Was this right after college? Right. What time of day was it?
Exactly. All important questions.
Is this a receipt? Anyway, it's time for the Untranslatables. The clock is now vibrating. It is analog, but it's highly complex and it vibrates.
That's right. These untranslatables are also complex, which are idioms, phrases, adverbs, sayings that don't always translate on a one-to-one basis into English. And I thought it would be fun, Jared, to kind of blend our untranslatables a little bit with our theme today. So I have some foreign words that to an English ear, they might sound dirty. And what I thought would be fun, because these are just words, I'm going to tell you the language and the word, and I want you to guess what the word could mean.
Okay.
So we're going to start off with some Ruski, with some Russian. And my first word for you, Jared, is drug. And it's spelled like drug. Drug.
It's a noun. Is that an?
It is a noun. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Feel free to ask any questions you want to help you decipher this. That's fine.
We could play almost a 21 questions. Drug is. I'm gonna imagine as some. For some reason, I feel like it has something to do with a liquid, beverages.
No.
Okay. Rug. It's rug.
No. It is.
Okay. I'm not gonna
something
get this.
living. Something living.
It's some sort of animal.
Or someone living.
Oh, someone living?
Someone living.
A baby?
I would call you a drug.
A friend?
There we go.
It's like homie?
Yeah, friend. I
Okay.
think. Yeah, friend.
But you'd say a drug?
Now you're asking me more than what I got for you, Jared.
Yeah.
I would assume so. I would bet you could probably say that as like my friend.
I just
probably.
imagine, this is my stupid American head, let me be clear. But in my stupid American head, I just imagine that they only said comrade.
I should have known. That is hilarious.
Their homie, their friend, their bro.
Right. That's funny. Oh, man. Do you have any untranslatables?
Oh, sure. Mine are just normal. Although this one does sort of sound funny, I guess. It's Filipino, but it's not Tagalog. This is the thing. On the website I found these, they said, here are some untranslatables from some other Filipino languages, such as blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah. And they named 3. And I'm like, but then they just gave the untranslatable. And I'm like, all right, well, which one is this? And then because they're just they're just dialects, essentially, I imagine, of some sort. Right. You can't just put it into Google Translator and it'll tell you what it just says Filipino. So it's a Filipino language. Tig Batay, and it means to hang the tightest.
Hang the tightest. That's when you're with your homies. Hanging out with your closest friends.
No, that does sound like a something Mac Miller would say in one of his hip hop songs from
for sure
the early days.
Right,
we're hanging
from
the
Kids
tightest
album. yeah, kicking incredibly dope shit for sure. For sure, I'm gonna have to listen to that after this recording
with some
today.
Kool-Aid and frozen pizza. We're hanging
That's
the tightest.
A good one.
With
Nikes
the
on my
homies.
feet.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang tight with the homie, so I got the crispiest Nikes on my feet. That's not what it is.
That's not what it means. Can you give me a clue?
Imagine an easier time, but also a more difficult time, shall I say? When there's a certain time when one must hang the tightest.
Okay.
So maybe during this time, if I were to ask you, hey, let's go to the club, I got us a table. All we got to do is order a couple bottles, and it's going to be a poppin' night. And you're like, it is Wednesday of the at the end of the month. I'm hanging the tightest right now.
Oh, you're almost broke, or you are broke.
Yeah. Well, essentially, yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's essentially
No,
what it
you're
is. It's
cutting it close.
It's the last few days before paycheck when you start eating more ramen, start really digging through the freezer, see what you have in there.
Yep.
And they're like, ooh, man, I now that I look back onto it, maybe I shouldn't have ordered out as many times as I did this month. Yeah,
Right.
When
Maybe
you're
I
hanging
shouldn't
the
hang the
tightest.
tightest. That's funny. I like that one. That's a good one. All right. Let's see here. This one is Dutch. And, well, I have to give you the full sentence here, Jared. And I think you'll be able to figure this out. So this is from a billboard in the Netherlands. So it's Dutch. And and it's a little daughter. And she's like in a pasture. And the quotations, Jared, say, Mama. I'm assuming they say it like the Germans would. Mama, D.
Is that like
It's spelled like die.
the?
In this case, it means that. But yeah, very good.
Okay. And it's
Yeah,
just
but
because it
kinda
says
similar.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that. If you were to just see that,
You're driving along the Netherlands, like
Yeah,
with your
as a
family on a road
tourist.
trip. You're just like, why is this kid saying, Mama, die?
just pointing.
Right? Yeah. And there's this like tranquil field behind the kid. Yeah. That just makes no sense. Makes no sense. All right. Now this one's kind of a funny one, Jared, because this word has a couple of different meanings in a couple of different languages. So first we'll start with Lithuanian, and the word is pus. P-U-S.
P word, as Ben Shapiro says.
It is not the P word.
It's a noun once again.
I don't think this would be a noun. I would say it's a unit of measurement. Would that be considered a noun?
Oh, a pinch.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I didn't eat the whole thing. I only ate
Like a bite.
half.
Puss is half.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Lithuanian,
Is
it
that like
half.
is it? No, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but is that an untranslatable or is it literally like in Lithuanian? Is that how you say half?
I think that means half in Lithuanian.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and let's see here. Okay, let me give you the same word, puss, but now with two S's, and this is Swedish.
You're right. It is literally half. I looked it up.
Nice.
Swedish. That they have a different meaning for the word puss.
Yes.
Okay. Half. And half gets used a lot. That's a common word.
Yeah.
In Swedish it's also it's not a unit of measurement in Swedish. In Swedish it's a noun. I feel like it sounds like a noun to
It's
me.
a noun. It's a noun. Mm-hmm.
Is it an animal?
Something you can give to someone, but you
A
probably
gift.
shouldn't give to everyone.
Flowers.
Some people, if you gave this to them, they'd slap you.
Sex toy.
You're really going in the hard in the paint today.
Listen,
if you might give this to your parents, you probably give this to your partner.
I have no idea.
You use your mouth to give this.
Oh, a kiss.
There we go. A kiss.
That actually really threw me off. I was like, my partner and my
I
parents.
figured that might throw you off a little. Some
With
people
my
kiss their
mouth.
parents.
I don't do a lot of kissing in my.
I don't.
in my
Yeah, I don't
family.
kiss my parents. But yeah. Anyways, I thought that was
No
kind of funny
judgment.
that those two words have very different meanings in two different languages.
Can I give you some English words?
Of course.
Some English. Some English words that just came to my mind when you first brought this topic up to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Now the classic one, the classic. We don't even have to dwell on it. Actually, we should dwell on it.
What's the classic?
The classic word that sounds gross, but it is just a very normal thing.
What's that?
Moist.
Oh yeah, but I think that's a millennial thing, my man.
You think
I hate
so?
to say it.
That word
Yeah.
doesn't bother me, by the way.
It doesn't bug me either, but that's a millennial thing. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
We're a sensitive
Yeah.
kids.
We
Another
are.
one from our childhood. Maybe you learned this on that school bus of yours. By the way, that school bus brings back some serious memories.
I'll bet.
I'm like, oh man, I miss like going on
Smacking
field
the
trips
seats.
or oh man, it's always a good time and I don't know. It seems so dangerous. Anyway, it's actually weird because
Right.
I'm starting to see school buses again, just driving by my house, and I'm like, this is a weird sight. Classic one from my elementary, middle school days: weenus.
Oh, that's a good one. Weenus is a good one. Yep.
Do you know what? Can you explain to
It's
the people
the skin
what?
on your elbow.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it?
I don't
You
know.
know, I've
is it?
never. Yeah, even
That's
still,
what they
let me look
told
it up.
us.
Let me look it
or
up.
that's what was said.
Even now, I still haven't fully looked that up. But yeah, they say it is the weenus. Do you know how to spell weenus?
Isn't it WENUS?
No. See, I didn't spell it right. I tried a whole bunch of
Or is it
different things.
WEENIS?
Ooh, very close. You're
WEENUS.
There you go.
Weenus.
Is a slang word for the excess of loose skin at the joint of one's elbow, which is technically referred to as.
So it's not a real word. It's a slang word.
It's technically referred to as olecranal skin. That's the real word for it. So doctors
okay, I like
aren't.
weenus better.
Doctors aren't in the operating room saying weenus. So maybe they are because everyone knows what it is.
They are now. Oh man, he really messed up his
So it is not
weenus.
even a real word, but yeah, we all know it. We all know it.
Right.
Another one. This one is a little bit more modern. Not modern, actually. It's not modern at all. But this one, I only say modern because I heard about this. I learned about this word in college specifically.
Okay.
And this word I learned about from actually a Donald Glover stand-up, someone you weirdly brought up earlier, and just a guess. I know this was from him. Niggardly.
Yeah. I remember I had an AP English class in high school where we discussed the word niggardly.
And niggardly is not generous or stingy.
Yep.
But I have to imagine. I'd be I can't imagine how it doesn't come from some form of racism. How is that possible? Can I actually I just pulled up just because I'm curious now. There's no way racism is not involved or slavery is not involved in the term niggardly.
I have no idea.
Let me just. I have the Wikipedia up here. Let me just.
Okay.
In the United States, there have been several controversies involving the word niggardly, an adjective meaning stingy or miserly. Because doesn't just the stingy, that sounds like a racist stereotype in general. Yeah, that is actually a racist stereotype. They say black people don't tip because of its phonetic.
Do they say that? Is that a thing?
That is a thing. Yeah.
Okay.
You've never heard of that? Yeah, I guess you've
I've
never
never heard
worked
that.
in the service industry either.
Right.
But well, you have, but not that style, not delivery or
pharmacy is not. Yeah.
or hospitality.
I was delivering to old white people. If we're being honest, I mean that was our customer base.
An adjective meaning stingy or miserly. Because of its phonetic similarity to the racial slur, the N-word, they just put out Wikipedia is like, listen, this is education. I'm writing the word.
They're keeping it as it is.
Etymologically, the two words are unrelated. Say it.
Etymologically, right? Isn't that how it's said?
Etymologically, yeah, the two words are unrelated. The term niggardly, arising in the Middle Ages, long predates the term nigger, which arose in the 18th century.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
All right.
So that word came way before all that stuff. But nowadays, see, that's the crazy thing about language, Jared, is nowadays...
No one just
you
uses
say
that
that
in conversation.
Well, exactly. Nowadays, if you would use that, people would be like, what is wrong with you?
Just imagine
most people
being
don't know
like-
what that word means either.
Being at a restaurant with like your friends or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, Jared's so niggardly. And everyone's like, Chad, what the
Right.
You're like, what? He won't pay the bill.
Right.
He said he got 6 drinks and he's trying to split this shit up evenly.
Right. Or as you said, he gave a 50-cent tip. Right. Yeah. Oh, man.
It was the word from the Middle Ages. I'm not a
Right.
racist.
Right. I just like the Middle Ages. I'm a weirdo. Anyways, let me
Oh, Jared,
give you this.
that was be so niggardly.
I guess if you're going to use the term, you better at least speak,
Yeah.
keep it consistent. That's
Why
true.
does
That's a
Chad
good
say
point.
thou all of a sudden?
Right. Just so he can use niggardly. Oh, jeez. Anyways, let me give you this one because I heard this one in the Czech Republic, Jared, and the first couple times I heard this, I was like, what is going on? So the phrase here, Jared, is faktio.
Oh.
Faktio is what you tend to hear when you're drunk at the bar. or you'll hear people speaking Czech, and then you'll pick up "faktio."
It's not like bottoms up, is it? Because it's not cheers.
No.
Cheers is na zdraví.
It means more like fact, yes. But if we were to translate it to make sense, it means more like for real. Like for real?
It's like an exclamation of either like agreeing or being like surprised. It's just like like a exclamation term, essentially.
Yeah,
it's probably
exactly.
flexible. Seems like it would be pretty flexible.
Yeah. But that was the first couple of times I heard that when I was in the Czech Republic. I was like, what's going on?
And then,
right? Exactly.
I feel like hearing people yell the F word in a crowded Czech bar would not be that surprising. I feel like European, I don't know, maybe not, but I feel like European people are a lot freer with swear words than Americans.
I would agree with that, for sure. Here's another funny one, and this one, depending on where you are, has very different meanings, Jared. The word kurva. Do you know what kurva means?
Mm-mm.
So in Spanish, it simply means curve.
Yeah.
However, in Czech, in Polish, in Serbian, in many, many Slavic languages, the literal translation, I guess, would be whore, but it has so many. It's used kind of like an expletive. I had a buddy in the Czech Republic that I met through David, who's been on our podcast before, who he would say kurva quite a bit, which he says it's more like bitch. But they use it more like the way I heard people use it over there. It was more kind of like the way we would say like damn or shit, like damn or shit. You know what I mean? But if you're a Spanish speaker,
it's almost like a self-deprecation. Like maybe if you were to knock over a cup, you would like yell that at yourself or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a funny one. If you're a Spanish speaker traveling around in Slavic countries, be careful if you're using the word kurva as in the curve, because people might hear it and think,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sir,
But
you're in my taxi. How dare you speak such language to me?
Exactly.
I was like saying, oh no, just watch the curve. That's the curve
here,
I want
Jared,
you to go around.
Speaking of very close, dangerous words, here's one in Spanish, negar. That, do you know what that means?
And that's different. I imagine that's different from black, because that's negro.
Right. Negar means to deny.
Oh, wow.
To deny. But yeah, so it's funny.
But to be fair, also, it would only be negar in the infinitive version as well, which you would essentially never use in conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny, though, the article here just said, deny in Spanish is written as negar. No wonder why North Americans get nervous when they're asked to read it. So I can see if you're in a Spanish class and you're going over verbs.
Negro always made me uncomfortable with white people around, especially as a kid. I'm like, it made me uncomfortable because in my head, I'm like, is someone about to make some sort of joke? And, sometimes they did, sometimes people, didn't, but you never know. And it's just like, oh God, am I going to have to hear some sort of joke about this sounding like the N word? I wonder, it seems like that's where the N word comes from, to be honest with you, is from the fact that it's black and Spanish and Italian and stuff like that. That's what I assume it came from, actually, not niggardly.
Could be.
But I also just learned about niggardly in college. I have actually, it's interesting. I don't know if this was planned. It seems like you are stepping up your social media game somehow, which actually is a problem probably. Not a good thing. But dictionary.com, within like a day or two of you... Let me see. Yeah, within a day or two of you texting me this idea, tweeted, what is your least favorite word used to describe a food?
Oh, okay.
And so there were a whole bunch of responses of people's least favorite words to describe
and moist
foods.
was one of them.
For sure.
Yep.
Another common one was decadent. People say they don't like it because it's pompous, but also because... another one that I didn't even realize this was a word.
Decadent. I feel like, I wouldn't use decadent for a food. Like a house could be decadent, maybe.
Decadent is a food word to me, but decadent is certainly see, that's because you don't have
fancy, right?
No, it doesn't mean fancy. You don't have listen,
doesn't?
Chad, no offense. It implies the food is fancy, but it doesn't mean fancy. You don't have a refined palate. No offense.
Thank you, sir.
So a decadent meal for you is schnitzel, and instead of getting the fries, you get the Kartoffelsalat. That is really
it's decadence
a classy
right there, bro.
meal for you.
So
Decadent
decadent
means I can explain decadent.
Okay.
Decadent is a way you explain a rich and overly flavorful food that is rich, not inexpensive, but rich in like the flavors are very powerful. And it leaves a deep resonant taste in your mouth, and it really and it usually is associated with some sort of expensive or very rare sort of flavor or experience that is usually a very powerful flavor of some sort. How is my definition of decadent?
Good. Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's a rich and decadent dessert. Characterized by or appealing to self-indulgence is one definition. The other one, which is interesting, is marked by decay or decline and increasingly decadent society. So you can also use it to talk about a declining culture.
Like I imagine, when I think decadent, I imagine like a chocolate souffle, which is like one of those molten lava cakes, where the chocolate float, that you break open the cake and the melted hot chocolate falls out, or even like some sort of truffle, something involving truffles could be decadent,
Yep, for sure.
Another one that people don't like is tangy.
I like the word tangy. Why not?
Tangy is a stupid word. What is
like orange juice is tangy?
Me. Is that what tangy is? Tangy means like sweet and sour, right?
Yeah,
that's tangy.
Yeah,
it's
like
just
a little bit
of maybe because I've now established myself as a food snob by the way I got on you for your explanation of decadent. But tangy sounds like the exact opposite of decadence.
Yeah,
tangy sounds like Buffalo Wild Wings.
Boneless wings,
like about 6 of their sauce choices have tangy in the explanation.
Probably. Yeah.
Wow, I did not realize I'd come off so snobby, but I love it. Moist is obviously a very common one. Delicacy immediately brings to mind the plundering and destruction of wildlife habitats as well as the exploitation of rare animal species. That's actually a good one. I don't like delicacy either, or because you think of like some sort of, this is some super rare, like veal or some baby.
Don't go to China, bro. Don't go to China because there are so many foods where,
or like the brain of something.
Yep, and they're like, oh yeah, and the way they sell it to you is, oh, it's just a delicacy.
The best way to cook the brain also is to just cut it out of a living monkey, and so it's still beating, and then just slightly heat it up with the broth we pour over it.
Exactly. Just so it's room temperature. It's not cold.
Pub grub. That's hilarious. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Munch. That's a good one.
That's a weird one.
That's because it is also sort of associated with obviously something sexual,
What would that be, Jared?
Another one is gelatinous.
Gelatinous.
What's
wrong with that one though? I mean,
what gelatinous reminds me of? You know why I do not like gelatinous? It's because I hear the sound. Remember the
wiggle of the Jello?
Not the wiggle. It's not even like a Jello
sounds
thing.
of stirring up the what is it?
But it's exactly. It's food that is leftovers that were once hot that you're now stirring up cold, like mac and cheese, for example, as Cardi B says in WAP, something mac and cheese and macaroni in a pot or whatever. That's what it is.
Oh my god,
that noise.
But that's not gelatinous, is it?
But when a lot of foods when they get cold.
They become gelatinous?
It gets that gelatinous. Like it's more of like a hot, like, for example, if you were to like make a whole chicken or a turkey and the juices that sit in the bottom of it, they turn gelatinous. Mm-hmm. And then if you were to get a piece of chicken that you want to reheat in the oven, you might get some of that gelatinous goo, which looks really gross and sounds gross when you pull it out. But in theory, you kind of want it because
the juice,
it'll turn into juice that'll help heat the chicken and bring some moisture to the chicken. But you get that that noise.
Yep.
And it's disgusting. Actually, someone replied to that with a gif of Jim Carrey as the Dumb and Dumber character with the going like doing the gagging.
Yep, that sounds about right. That
All right,
sounds
let's-
about right.
Oh,
Jared.
another one.
That's funny.
I didn't even know this was a word. Mouthfeel. Have you heard of that? That's
I've
a
never
real
heard that
word.
Hey,
I-
look, you're the foodie expert here, Jared. I haven't heard or thought of half of these words because I would not use them when I'm describing my very basic meals.
And mouthfeel is actually something that I imagine most people are very sensitive to. I know I am. Like that's something, the texture, for example.
I would just call it texture, yeah.
the
not
physical
mouthfeel.
sensations in the mouth produced by a particular food. Exactly.
Mouthfeel just sounds weird.
It sounds
just
weird.
Sounds weird.
And it's one
Just
word.
say the texture.
It's spelled MOUTHFEEL as one
Yeah.
word. It's like why is this one word? What are we,
Right.
German? I don't know. It's just
Right.
it's a weird.
I love that. What is this one word? Are we German?
It's such a weird word. I don't understand why. It doesn't make any sense. I feel like in our language, it actually feels very German to me. And if it
mouthfeel.
was German, it would probably make perfect sense.
It probably works.
It
It
makes
probably
perfect sense
works in German,
to me.
yeah.
But it
Probably
just doesn't sound like it belongs to us Americans. Flavor
Exactly.
profile.
Right. All right, Jared. Let me give you some dirty sounding words that aren't dirty in English. Let's continue this a little bit. This one is one of my favorites because if you grew up with or spent any time with grandparents or older people, you might hear this word, especially when you're talking about food. By the way, which is rump.
Oh, I mean that's still a cut of meat that is
It's a cut of meat
today.
But nowadays, doesn't it also mean the human posterior?
It
as a
does. Yeah.
classy
Oh, it
person
didn't
would
used to
say?
mean that back then. You're saying
Right. It didn't always used to mean your
is that
booty.
from like the shake your rump era from the 80s or something?
Probably.
Maybe 70s.
Probably.
Yeah, rump
knows?
roast. And I was
Right.
like, yeah.
Right. And I had quite a few Chinese people say the term rump. And at first it wasn't meaning the cut of meat.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure they didn't
How
know.
often- like at a
because they probably
restaurant or
looked it up.
something.
Yeah, they looked it up or something. Because there are some really good Chinese dishes where they'll use the rump meat. The rump roast. So another good one, Jared. This is a funny one. Penal. What does penal mean, Jared?
The penal system.
That's right.
That's like the court system, the legal system.
Penal means punishment. Yeah.
Oh, does it? Okay. Yeah, I've only heard it as like penal system going through which is essentially
punishment
means
or
like
judicial
you're
system.
going through the prison or jail system. Yeah, that's actually what it is. Not court, but I think penal system is like the jail or prison system.
Right. Jared, do you like it when people masticate very loudly when you're at
Yes,
dinner?
I forgot about that one. Yeah, the mastication. That was another word that us like early middle schoolers, elementary schoolers were obsessed with. You learn a new word and it's like, oh my gosh, that's close to the word about touching yourself. Masticate is to chew. Yeah.
Yep.
That's like the real word, like the scientific
Formal
word
term,
for chewing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the patient was not masticating enough of their food. I don't know. Here's another good one, though, Jared. I love this one. If you're a sports fan, you've heard this one before. Tight end,
Oh yeah.
which is a football position. And let
I
me
feel like
see
there's
really
gotta
quick,
be
Jared.
a lot of dirty sports terms.
Well, yeah, in rugby, there's a couple. In rugby, they
Scrum.
also they have a hooker.
A hooker?
Kid you not. We had a rugby team at our high school. I don't know how they were allowed to wear these shirts in high school, but they were our rugby team had a shirt that said "Support your local hookers."
That's
and they had their
hilarious.
rugby logo on there.
And there's also isn't Scrum is another one.
Yeah,
And that's like, isn't that when they're all in that circle, all huddled up next to each other, rubbing on each other?
Yep, I think so.
And Scrum
I'm trying
also
to-
means like the butthole.
Yep. I'm trying to find it now,
those that
Jared. But
don't
there was a really funny newspaper article headline. I can't find it now, but there was an old tight end from the University of Michigan, and his name was Jake Butt. And as you can imagine, whoever wrote the headline, took that, took full force of that, and it was something like best tight end that or but best tight end Michigan has seen for a long time or something like
That's
that.
hilarious.
And it was just so
that
funny.
is a pretty. That's not an uncommon last name for some reason.
It's German. Butt is
what is that? Does it have some
that's
meaning?
the last name.
But does it mean
it's a name.
something?
I don't. Does it?
I
It
only
might.
ask
I don't
because,
know.
there are German names. A lot of Germans were like named for like some profession that their great grandparents had or something, like Schumacher or like
Right.
something like that. Just curious.
This is a funny one, Jared. Do you know what a fanny blower is? So
that sounds super
used
British,
in the 19th
super
century.
Australian.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, you fanny blower.
So it is. So if you just chop off
blower.
the majority of the word, I think
is that like a brown noser? It sounds like brown nosing almost.
It is literally the old term for a fan.
And okay, is it for what do you know where it originates? Is that like a British term?
Let me find the etymology for you. Let me see here.
Is it like an electric fan? So could you go to Sears in 1930? I don't know when Sears, maybe not Sears. Could you go to Macy's in 1928 and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a fanny blower"?
Maybe. I'm not sure. The weird thing is though, so I can't find anything specifically for that.
Well, everything I see is like code.uk though.
Yep.
So I'm imagining it's a British thing.
It's got to be. Yeah, 1925 to 1930. Yeah. Yep.
From fanny blower to skiddy rock.
That's right.
That's just some other list of terms. All right, what else you got, Chad?
Let's see here. Well, here you go, Jared. Skiddy cock.
Oh, isn't that what I just said? That's hilarious.
Is an old name for the water rail bird. It has nothing to do with. I don't know why they wrote this in the article. It has nothing to do with anal sex. Okay.
Is that how they say anal sex in England?
Maybe.
Did you slide it in the skiddy cock? Did you give it the old skiddy cock? I have some more food terms for you.
Okay, go for
succulent.
When I think of a succulent, I think of, isn't that a plant?
It is a plant. That plant.
Oh yeah, you got
right
you
there.
got
These two plants are. Did you call them suckies?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought I just heard you say, "Oh yeah, you got some suckies."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, these aloes are suckies. A suckies,
mate. Sounds like that's what an Aussie would say. I got two suckies.
The suckies probably thrive in a climate like Australia. Sucky is not just a plant. It's succulent is also you've never heard you've never heard food described as succulent, like a meat.
Yeah, it's like it's
succulent
like
meat. Yeah, juicy.
Yeah, it's juicy
and cooked perfect to the perfect temperature where it just it's juicy. It explodes in your mouth.
Succulent,
succulent juices in your mouth. Another one, chunky.
Okay.
How does that term? How do you feel about that term?
I mean, when I hear chunky, I think of a few things. I think of a heavier person, or
sure.
I think of soup, like soup with like big pieces of meat or potatoes.
I also think of throw up. Mouth watering.
Sure.
It's always weird that gets used in commercials because I'm like, that word does sort of like throw me off a little. It's like, ugh. First of all, that's gross. It's such a made up term because that only happens in cartoons, like
come to Jared and Chad's Steakhouse for some mouth-watering 8-ounce succulent sirloin steak.
Yeah, and some
suckies in the room
with the starter of some chunky soup.
That's right.
It'll be a decadent meal,
moist cake to end your meal.
Yeah, with a whole
decadent and moist cake for you.
You'll have a whole wide flavor profile from tangy to I don't know.
Will it appease your mouthfeel, Jared?
Yeah, your mouth will be your mouth will be watering, and the mouthfeel will be just right.
Mouthfeel will be on point, Jared.
The mouth point will be perfect.
That's right.
We have to make sure we reach the right mouth point.
Here's one of my favorite terms, Jared, that sounds dirty, but it's not. And I learned of this term when I was in grad school. Maybe when we were actually in undergrad. Dongle.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a term for like an adapter.
That's got to be a new term.
Yeah, it is.
Why does that sound? It does sound weird, but why does it sound weird?
Because the word dong is a slang word for wiener.
Thank you. Of course.
That's why.
Yeah.
So it's like you mix dong and dangle together, and you got dongle.
Oh, yeah.
Your wiener dangling.
Just dangle it in front of me, yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. But that is a funny word. That's just such a funny word. When you hear or just say dongle, it's a funny word.
They claim that the word dongle was like they came up with it in 1992. I believe it was used in a tongue-in-cheek. Oh, hold on. And there are some say 1999 and some say 1992, but it is essentially a modern term. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let me give you some weird words here, Jared. And a lot of these were brand new words for me. This first one is a funny one. So it's spelled AHOLEOLE. How would you say a word like that, Jared?
Is it an English word?
It's Hawaiian, actually.
Okay. AHOLEOLE.
Mm-hmm.
A hola.
That's pretty good, yeah. A holy holy, I think is how they say it. Or
holy
a holy
holy.
holy, however you said it. But yeah, it reads like a-hole. It looks like if you've never seen the word
Interesting. I
kind
of thought holy.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
What does it mean?
It's a fish. It's a type of fish. It's a
Okay.
Hawaiian flagtail fish native to the Central Pacific. This is a good word, Jared. Assart. Assart. ASSART.
I have some nice ass art in my in my studio over there.
That's right. Right behind your suckies.
It's beautiful and it's a art form. No one can tell me
So
otherwise.
I believe it's pronounced assart. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming it's assart, and it means to deforest. So to get rid of woodland, for example. It's an old medieval English word. Bastinado.
Now this is just a vocabulary.
It is
quiz.
a vocab quiz. So this is derived from the Spanish word baston. Baston?
Is that an English word? Bastelardo?
I love that you said Bastelardo. That is awesome. It's bastinado.
Bastinado.
I like Bastelardo better. I think that rolls off the tongue better. Sorry, that's why I was cracking up at just the sound of it. It's a cane or a walking stick, I guess. Specifically, wait, no. So it comes from the Spanish word cane or walking stick, but bastinado is an old 16th century word for a thrashing or caning.
Oh, wow.
Usually on the soles of the feet. No wonder we don't know that one.
I just typed it into Google, and I know that they claim it's a normal term, but some of these pictures make it seem like it also is a dirty term.
Okay,
depending
maybe
on
is.
Depending on what you're into, seems like some people might be into it.
Yeah, yeah. That people are into some weird
let's
stuff.
Put it this way, there's probably a Reddit.
Probably. You're right about that.
For it.
Right. Here you go, Jared. Bum fiddle. What do you think it means here to bum fiddle something?
That sounds like a British term.
It does.
It sounds like some sort of tree or bush or something, or some sort of leaf or something.
Interesting. Okay. Well, it means to
or a broom or something.
Pollute or spoil something, in particular by scribbling or drawing on a document, which makes it invalid.
Now, are these words people use? Do you know anything about these words?
I mean, if it's British, we'd have to ask some British people because I have no idea. I've never heard this word before, but I'm gonna have to start using it now. Don't be bum fiddling this document, Jared.
Fiddlebum is a Urban Dictionary term used to describe a person who always has
That's how you know Urban Dictionary is good or bad in that case.
You don't have to keep giving me terms, Chad. I think a great lesson that we can all learn here on this podcast is how to leave them wanting more and not burn people out just with more and more terms.
That's fair. Let me give you one last term because I know
We're
you
not
know
gonna
this
learn
term
today. So, but one
we
day.
Aren't. Okay. Never mind. You know, we'll save it for another day. We'll
Well,
save
at this
it for another
point,
day.
just give it to me, Chad. No, you can't do that.
All right, fine. The word is packapoo.
And you say I should know this?
Yeah, I
Never
changed
heard
my
this in
mind. I changed my mind as I was reading through the words. That's why I was going to trash it. Anyways, packapoo is a 19th century Australian word for lottery or raffle.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of a cool word. Anyway, speaking of cool stuff, how about we talk about our cool song of the pod today, which is quite something. It is by a Turkish artist named Mahmut Orhan. And the song, it's not called Mouthfeel, but it is called Feel. And it's featuring Sena, I don't know if it's pronounced Sena Senair, but this is quite the tune. And I have to say, I kind of wish, Jared, we would have been recording the beginning when we were going off on this song, because that really portrays, I think, the whole essence and vibe of this song, which is to get you dancing and moving.
It even brought out a new dance move out of Chad, which is something I've never seen before. It got me dancing, for sure, but then by the end of it, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of done with this song. You know what I mean?
I mean, this is one that
it's a club hit. It would be.
Right.
It would have been faded out way before that point anyway. In its proper
DJ
setting.
mix, that's
it's
true.
like they're not just gonna have that whole ending on it.
Right. I do like though
at the beginning,
violin.
it got me going. Even when I listened to it by myself, it even got me moving here, over here. So I'm not saying
I believe it.
It didn't start with a groove. I'm just saying it probably could have cut off some of the end.
Right.
Well,
this isn't quite your
Kinda like
cup
the end
of
of our
tea, I
podcast.
would say.
Kind of faded to a halt at the end.
Right. But yeah, I mean, this isn't. I don't think this is really either of our wheelhouses in terms of like music we generally listen to. But
I would have put it on the playlist. But as I said, it I don't. I'm not even. I usually I'm happy to diss a club hit. Like some of those Russian songs that you bring me. But this one, it got me. I enjoyed it. It wasn't just like here's your typical club hit, the typical sort of beat you expect. It certainly got me. I just say it could have been like a minute shorter.
That's fair too. So like 2 minutes, that's fair. That's fair. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I was looking for some Turkish artists, and I thought this was an interesting one.
What, just personally, you're interested in finding some more Turkish music, or just the song of the pod?
So I started following some different language learning stuff, and they had posted a couple artists from Turkey, and I just liked the way the music sounded. So I was like, oh, I'm going to check out and see what other Turkish music I can find. So that's where the randomness came from. But we always love here at the Untranslatable podcast to find music from artists from different countries and cultures, and just to broaden our own musical perspective. And so it's an awesome song. Check it out. Definitely, if you're in the car, turn it up, crank it up.
Don't be afraid don't be afraid who's looking over at you in the car next to you.
That's right.
Dance away. They can't
doesn't
hurt
matter.
you.
That's right. So check out our song of the pod, Mahmut Orhan Feel featuring Sena Senair. It's definitely a good one. Well, Jared, this has been a fun episode. I think we have covered some dirty words that aren't actually dirty, but they sound dirty. I think one of my favorites is probably weenus. That brings out the child.
You never brought up you started this episode talking about those bus terms, and I didn't hear one of them.
Oh, that's true. Let's talk about them to end the episode today. Then that's fine. We can talk about a couple. Well, here, give me a guess.
I mean, you said quick. Frick.
Yep.
Shut the front door.
I don't know why this one kept us off the hook. Yes, I don't know why this one kept us off the hook, but beaver dam was
beaver
fine.
is a word that we didn't bring up. A beaver is a classic word that is just an animal, but for some reason has been converted over to also mean the female lady parts. And so now whenever you use it to just normal, it sort of makes me giggle a little bit.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and there's all sorts of stupid jokes that people
Did you guys,
make.
when you were a kid, did you use the term Canadian instead of N-word?
What? Is that a thing?
I think some Gen Z kids do that on the internet, or people do that on the internet, yeah. These Canadians.
Okay. Well, Jared, I grew up in a small enough farm town that the racist was just there. It wasn't. There was no need to hide it.
I didn't think you actually be like, oh yeah, we did that too. I didn't actually think that would happen.
No,
I didn't think you know that. You're not dialed in enough in social media to know about the secret slurs.
That is fair. Frankly, I don't need to know them, and I don't want to know them. But yeah, I'm trying to think of some other terms we would use on the bus. A beach. Beach is another one.
Oh, for bitch.
Yep.
Now you got me nervous for some reason. I hesitated saying that.
We're gonna get so canceled after this episode, Jared.
I don't think we can be canceled for saying bitch. But
beach.
Oh yeah, we're gonna lose our. I forgot. This is how we lose our our right to have a podcast because we blew through the explicits.
That's right.
Hey, you can only dance around the N-word for so long before we just have to take this down.
Exactly.
Beach. That's I don't think I ever used that one when I was a kid.
I think also sheet as well was another one.
Did you, the HE double hockey sticks.
Yeah, there we go.
Sheet.
No,
interesting.
Yeah.
Shoot.
You're full
obviously.
of sheet.
My parents didn't like it when I said crap.
Really?
I don't know. When I was elementary, early middle school.
Right.
When
I was younger, my mom didn't like when I said the word fart. She wanted me to say gas. You pass gas. Which is funny, by the way, Jared, because fart means fast or speed in Swedish.
Also in German it means drive.
Oh yeah. We got a laugh the first time we were in Germany when we saw the exit sign. For the freeway. Ausfahrt. You gotta for sure. Well, Jared, there you go. A couple bus terms for you.
Mm-hmm.
We got to bring the podcast full circle to.
Like that.
We couldn't. I guess not. But anyways, let us know some of your favorite dirty phrases that aren't dirty, or how you cover up your dirty phrases at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Check us out on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. You can see clips, pics, all sorts of good stuff. And hopefully we'll be having some exciting new pics coming your way in the near future, so stay tuned.
Betcha.
And also, please, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania. And don't be bum fiddling, Jared.
Dude, the weather is
It's been popping. It's been great.
You know, it's been a while since I've been in Michigan. Obviously, I was here last winter, I guess. But, oops. I accidentally opened a random... I wasn't paying attention, and I clicked a random